Hello, music lovers. Welcome to the channel. Come along with me as we ride the rhythmic roads of music. Well, hello again, music lovers. Welcome to the channel. I am your host, Ms. Muzik, and I am here to debut my first video. I hope I can get it up and going. And on my other channel, The Book Connection, I will leave a link down there in the description box at the end of this video. But over there on that channel, I have a segment that I like to do, and it's called About the Author. So over here on the music channel, I'd like to do a segment called About the Artist. And that's what I am going to do tonight. My very first About the Artist. And this is someone I quite honestly, I'd never heard of before. I guess I'll say, between me saying that about authors and books, and now here I am over here on music, I actually am a little more knowledgeable than I sound sometimes. But this person, she just never was on my radar, despite having read her husband's autobiography. Okay, I want to do a feature on Miss Betty Davis. The Betty Davis, the one who was once married to legendary trumpeter Miles Davis. Albeit a short marriage, they were married for a year, right at a year. But boy, I think that they profoundly affected each other. So that's what I want to talk about. Miss Betty Davis. I think she was the second wife of Miles Davis. Okay, so sit back and let's see how much I can get accomplished in these little 10 minutes. Hopefully this video will go through. So Betty Davis was actually born Betty Gray Mabry on July 26, 1944 in Durham, North Carolina. I don't believe they lived there very long because it picks up and says that at some point she, along with her father and her grandmother, Beulah Blackwell, is where she lived and who she was raised with. It didn't make any mention of her mother or if there were any other siblings. It just said that she was primarily raised by her grandmother, Beulah Blackwell. They moved to Homestead, Pennsylvania, so that her father could get a job working at the steel mill. And so he did, and said that she attended and graduated from the local high school there. I think it was called Homestead High, something like that. But around the age of 10, Betty realized that she had an ear for music, and she decided that that's what she wanted to do. So by the time she was 12, she wrote her first song, and it's called I'm Going to Bake That Cake of Love. I don't know if it was ever published or not, but that was the song she wrote around the age of 12. Now, as she got older and became an adult, she started, because, I forgot to say this too, her grandmother evidently did something with the blues because she was always around other blues singers of that day. She introduced Betty to a lot of them. What Betty did was take that blues and amplify it with some rock guitar, specifically Jimi Hendrix, and then she just infused a little bit of that jazz in there with Miles Davis, and she became her own entity. Now, along the way, before she met and married Miles, She did a little modeling on the side. She wrote songs, and yeah, that's what she did. She also painted a little bit. But why is she known, aside from being Miles Davis' wife? She was known for her controversial sexual lyrics and I guess maybe like her stage performances because, like I said, she was really big into Jimi Hendrix, and that posed a problem later on when she married Mr. Miles Davis. I have got to go back and reread that book just to see. Because I do remember now that I'm talking about it, I do remember him being married to a lady named Betty Davis. But it was a very short mention, like there was no full chapter and it really wasn't developed. It was just that he was married to her. But there is a documentary here on YouTube, and I watched it. I'll go back and see the name of it, but it's really, really eye-opening. Maybe it was just that way for me because I'd never heard of her before. But she was like Tina Turner, Grace Jones, and anybody else back in the 60s, 50s and 60s, early 70s who were trailblazers. But her thing was fusion. She did the blues, but she added that it wasn't rock. It was just straight. I mean, it wasn't pop. It was just full-on rock with Jimi Hendrix. And then Miles comes in and he tames her and tones her and refines her with the jazz, made it a little more mellow. I mean, what am I trying to say? It made her, stand out, and she found her place in music. Matter of fact, she is also known for her 1973 album called Nasty Girl. Now, as wild as she seems to have been on stage, nothing could have been further from the truth in her own private life. She was more like the woman that most of us really can be, just meaning that we can go there if need be, but if left to our own devices, we're pretty much more even killed type people. Her stage act became like a personification of who she really was. But she was only married to Miles Davis for right at a year. It was so brief that it just said they married in 1968 and divorced in 1969. No months, no dates. And she said in that documentary, by the time that marriage ended, she earned the right to go by that Betty Davis. Y'all remember if you watched What's Love Got to Do with It, or if you read any of Tina Turner's autobiographies and biographies. I think I've read 2 or 3. But that was, they ended up going to court because when they were divorcing, I tried to say that Tina could not use the last name Turner. But that's what made her famous, and he gave her the name, and the judge sided with her. And apparently, that's what happened with Betty and Miles. Because she kept that, and she said, they really, in the beginning, y'all must put your best foot forward in the beginning, but they brought out the best in each other. But it didn't take long for all of that to, settle, and then therein lies the problems. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up just in case YouTube is doing some sort of funny business, but let's just put it this way. She never remarried or had children. And at some point after the year 1974 or 5, she just quietly dropped off the radar. There were very, very, very few sightings of her. And not only did she stop being visible to the public, that included whatever family and friends she did have. There was a part in the documentary where her former bandmates were sitting around reminiscing about her, and she called in and she talked to them, and they all just was like, they begged her to come back out on the road and this, that, and the other. She was like, well, I don't have a way. They were like, well, we'll come and get you. But Betty, she tabled that right quick, like in a hurry, so I guess she wasn't really interested in doing anything else. But she just became, they didn't use the word recluse, but she just wasn't seen. And I think the last interview she actually granted was in like 1994. It was shortly after Miles passed away. He died, I remember, he died in 1991. But, and as for Betty, she too died, but she died February 9th, 2022 in her home in Homestead, Pennsylvania at the age of 77 years old. She had cancer. So music lovers, I'm going to wrap this up. Like I said, I hope you all enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something that you didn't know, because everything I read and watched was truly eye-opening to me. And when I heard that woman, it was almost like a scream. Oh, I got to throw Janis Joplin in there also. That is the embodiment that Davis seems to have taken on in all of her, not just her albums, but her stage presentation as well. So music lovers, if you watching this video, I'd like to say, if you're already subscribed, thank you. But I hopefully I will be thanking you shortly for being subscribed. But right now, please subscribe. Visitors, should you happen upon the channel, the door is always open. Everyone, please don't forget to like, comment respectfully, and share. And make sure those notification bells are turned on and set to all for both of my channels, the Book Connection as well as this one, the Ms. Music channel. And until we meet again, listen again, music lovers, remember this: as long as there is music around, there is always something to listen to and enjoy. Have a great rest of the work week. And until we listen again, music lovers, goodbye and God bless.